888-808-1019. All right, we go back to the calls, and here he is. Brett in Long Island. Brett, how are we doing?
Chris, I'm really serious. I need professional help.
I know. I'm trying to help you. Now, here's the thing, all right, before we get into it. I don't think you're ready to say I'm right, and I'm not going to force you to do that again. I just want to see some positive growth with you here. So I'm hoping we can just figure things out. If you're going to kill me on something, that's fine, but I do need you to at least acknowledge that I gave a legitimate take with Jaden Daniels, and it wasn't just out of pure desperation, hatred for the New York Giants. I'm going to need that from you at some point, but I feel like moving forward, we can find a space together where you and I can have personally reasonable phone calls, okay? So let's start there.
Chris, I had a major setback this weekend, and I wanted to share it with you.
Okay.
You know, I'm in 11 online social media groups.
I know all of 11 of them, yep.
Texting groups with friends for 20 years.
Yes.
And one of my good friends for 20 years is a diehard Bills fan. He's a lunatic, and he's been ranking on Daniel Jones for 2 years. He's wanted to call in and talk to you that, like, this isn't stick with me, that, like, he wanted to tell you what's really happening in real life. So anyway, he's been ranking on Daniel Jones because I was always supporting him. So I ranked on the Bills with Norwood and everything, and during the game I'm ranking on him in the thing. After the game, I ranked on him and said, do you still want to fire McDermott? Because I had a receipt that he said he wanted to fire McDermott last year when they were about to be eliminated, and he said it once this year. So he calls me up after the game, flipping out, cursing, telling me all this crazy stuff. I'm coming to your house. Right, this is true story.
Uh-huh.
So he hangs up.
You have this way with people, Brett. I do believe the story.
This just happened, but I'm gonna. So he's driving to my house. He calls me on the way. He's like, "I'm dead serious. I'm coming to your house." I'm like, "What am I going to do at this point? Really? I got the wife, kids. I'm going to wait outside." So all of a sudden, he calls back a third time, flipping out, screaming, "I ran out of gas." I'm like, "Oh, okay. Where are you?" 2 miles away, he runs out of gas. It's in the 20s. He's in a T-shirt and shorts. I'm thinking he's setting me up, but he's my friend. I go. I'm like, he's going to fight me on the side of the road. I got to go. I go. I pick him up. I'm like, is he going to beat me up? We go. I get him a gas can, the whole thing. We're yelling, screaming. I'm like, you did this to me for 2 years. It was my chance to get you back. And that was it. So, Chris, I need help, bro. Like, I got issues. Like, I almost had somebody come to my house and fight me. If he didn't run out of gas, this would have been a different story, right. Chris, for real.
Listen, this is why last week I made the determination to try and help you, Brett, because this is unhealthy, your view of this. I don't know why you need to bring up Norwood to it. I mean, listen, can't you sympathize with a Buffalo fan?
He said that that's irrelevant. I sent him memes for 13 seconds, and I guess I broke him down. He told me why he was mad is that he kept texting me during the Eagle game with Saquon memes the whole day, and I didn't answer. And the second the Bills game started, I started in. And he couldn't accept that.
Mm-hmm. So that you were nowhere to be found when it was.
I ignored him. I was nowhere to be found, and then right. So, Chris, man, I don't know. I just wanted to tell you that I guess it's all coming to a head. All this stuff.
Yeah. No.
All my friendships and life, and it's getting crazy.
Brett, I mean this. I'm glad you're able to accept this. I'm glad you've come forward here and recognize.
I won't stop. I won't stop. I wasn't wrong. He ranked on me for 2 years. He's like, tell me now that you don't think Daniel Jones is good, and I'll stop. He's like you. He's like, admit that Daniel Jones isn't good. I said, no, he could still be good. So he basically would want to fight me over this stuff. But what are you going to do? I got to hold my ground.
Listen, I got crap for 3 days from the morning show from asking you to tell me I was right. And it's not about whether I was right or not. I recognize you need to be able to make that move. You need to be able to look someone in the face and go, I was wrong. You were right.
But you were wrong,
Chris.
I wasn't wrong. You were wrong.
I wasn't wrong.
My argument was, but if you listen to me, all my argument with you was the way you were able to talk about the NFC East. It wasn't about Jaden Daniels.
Yes, it
You're
was.
like, Dak Prescott going to the Giants. Like, that was my thing.
You made it sound.
How could you talk so happily about that? I would throw up.
No, you made it sound as if I only had that opinion because of my Giant hatred, and that I wasn't giving legitimate opinions.
You sound like a Giant hater.
Well, I'm just saying,
you sound that way.
After watching, I need you to say you were right, Chris.
And how did Jaden Daniels look anyway?
He looked great.
How did your godly quarterback look?
He looked great. He was the only reason the game was
great.
even. Yeah, they turned the ball over 3 times. They were blowing. Saquon Barkley made one spin move, and they fell all over themselves. They couldn't tackle. They couldn't hold on to the ball, and yet Jaden Daniels had them close in the third quarter somehow.
And how could you root for the Eagles, by the way? Just telling me you watched that again. That's why I think you're a Giant hater.
I know.
I'll say it again. How are you watching that and saying, "Yay!" Like,
I'm not saying.
Let me score 3 touchdowns.
I didn't say.
You wanted them to win.
I didn't say.
So how do you watch it?
Because I didn't.
How do you watch it?
Okay.
I'm disgusted when I watch that.
I was disgusted.
I don't get you.
I don't want Washington to be that good that quickly. They were right there with us.
Who cares? Let them beat the Eagles and then lose in the Super Bowl.
No, thank you. No, thank you. Let the Eagles beat Washington and lose in the Super Bowl.
I don't know. I think the Eagles, you know what I mean? They're scary. I think they could win the Super Bowl. That's the point. Washington wasn't going to beat the Chiefs or the Bills.
You sure?
Yeah, I'm sure.
I'm not. Not if they won that game.
I'd rather risk that than risk the Eagles with all their weapons, experience. They've been to 2 Super Bowls now recently.
Yeah, I know.
It makes no sense. You're worried about Jaden Daniels being good. Let's get out of here.
I'm worried about Jaden Daniels being good. Who cares? They're not going to make him a dynasty. He's a running back. He's not going to make him a dynasty.
I don't know how the season 1 look.
He's going to be 30 in 2 years. He's not making him a dynasty. What?
They've already been into their Super Bowl.
Who's been to 2 Super Bowls? He wasn't a part of it. He wasn't a part of that Super Bowl team.
I'm saying they're already good. Now
They've always been good. That's my point. They were in the Super Bowl with Miles Sanders.
Over the top.
They were in the Super Bowl with Miles Sanders.
Who cares? You're worried about NFC teams.
I'm worried about. I'm worried.
The Eagles might be a freaking dynasty with Saquon.
No, I really don't think so. I'm not worried about that. I'd rather have Saquon Barkley in the division than Patrick Mahomes 2.0, which is
what you're worried about Dan Quinn.
No, I'm not worried about Dan Quinn. I'm worried about the quarterback.
And Jaden. Yeah, but they're not going to win 4 Super Bowls.
Neither of Philadelphia with Saquon Barkley. Don't worry about it.
They're there too, Chris.
Yeah, I know,
crazy,
but
man.
They were there before him. They'll probably be there after him.
I don't want to add
as well run a franchise.
Is my point.
Yeah, but see, because this is what your problem is, Brett. You worry about everybody else because you, unfortunately, have turned yourself into this guy who everybody wants to get because you're kind of a jerk to people. And this is why I'm trying to help you because you have to deal.
And you want to.
Because I'm not a jerk to you. I'm trying to help you.
You're the same way.
I'm not. You call my show. I give you my opinion. The second I call,
I give you my opinion, and you don't like it.
The second I answer the phone, you get all over me and start calling me names. What are you talking about, Brett? Come on now. Me. Brett, you need like at the beginning of the phone call, I felt like you recognized it, Brett. Come on. I'm mean to you? All I did was last week or whenever it was, I wanted you just to acknowledge that I had a valid opinion. That's it. And that's what the morning show didn't get. It doesn't matter. But I wasn't Gio was like, I expected to be lauded. I didn't ask a single person to say I was right other than him. I didn't ask Gio to say I was right. I didn't say I was, look at me, I nailed the pick. I wanted him to say I was right because I felt it was his best interest to come to that kind of term. And he specifically said, I gave the opinion because I'm a Giant hater. I wasn't out there saying, hello, world. I said the Washington Commanders could win. Laud me. But I wanted Brett to do it because I think Brett needs to. I think Brett, when he has friends driving to his house to beat him up, he has to recognize what he's become. And the idea that I'm mean to him, that's hilarious. That's the second I answer the phone, he's saying things. No one cares to hear this. No one wants to hear this. You never shut up. You keep talking. Like there's numerous times I pick up the phone, he goes right into insults, which is fine. Sometimes it's funny, but I do think he could use some help. And I thought there for a second I got him. You want to talk about being right? I was about to really declare being right and wanting to be lauded. I almost turned Brett around. I thought for a second I had it. I thought our last phone call was the genesis of him recognizing the errors of his ways. I was about to go into a new career.
A very underrated part of that, and you got a lot going on when you're dealing with Brett, is the same guy who's saying, well, Daniel Jones can still be good. All of this, even this argument with this friend, comes back a little bit to his defense of Daniel Jones.
Yeah.
He came on here and started dumping on Jaden Daniels.
Yes, that's true. Daniel Jones is still going to be great, and Jaden Daniels was crap.
the guy who just went to the conference championship game. Much more, let's compare Jaden Daniels this past Sunday to Daniel Jones in his playoff game against the Eagles.
Yeah. I mean, look, and my Washington take, I'm sorry. He's in that one, he's not the only one who disagrees with me. A lot of people disagree with me. I don't care. In 1 year to turn the franchise around from 4 wins to the Super Bowl and going on the road and beating the 1 seed and the 2 seed, that's the kind of thing great quarterbacks do. That's the kind of thing Patrick Mahomes, Tom Brady, Manning, like those are the things special quarterbacks do. Winning games they don't belong winning. And elevating teams to win games they don't belong in. That's the last thing I wanted to see. As opposed to the Eagles who've already won, the Eagles who've kicked my ass for 20 plus years. Like, I'm used to that. I don't want to see Washington all of a sudden be better than them. Now I got to watch Washington beat them when I can't beat them for the last 25, 30 years. In any big spot since 2001, the Giants have lost to the Eagles in every big spot. 1 year, 1 draft pick. Washington, who's been right there with me, getting Washington, the beloved Daniel Jones, who would only beat Washington. They would have 4 wins a year. 2 of them would be against Washington. That team is going to make 1 draft pick and do something that the Giants haven't been able to do since 2001 and beat the Eagles in the playoffs or a big spot. Forget that. Why do I want to see that? I have a different thought process. I'm used to the Eagles going to the Super Bowl, and they're not going to be a dynasty, and they're not going to do it with Saquon Barkley. I'm sorry. And again, I'm not trying to tell you Saquon Barkley's not great. He's unbelievable in the driving force of that team. The first run of the game, he goes 16 yards before he's touched. The other 2 touchdowns, he goes in untouched. The offensive line in the run scheme is a match made in heaven with him, but they're just as big because I've seen Saquon Barkley when he doesn't have the offensive line like that. And you know what? It's really good to pedestrian. 888-808-1019. Quick break. Finish with your phone calls next on The Fan.